Hi, I'm Magda from Interiors Exteriors. In this episode, I'll show you my friend's house and discuss the new Dreame H13 Pro vacuum cleaner with mopping. As usual, we're starting at the entrance, but this time it won't be a home tour. We'll use the space in this house to test the capabilities of this device. This is the H13 Pro vacuum cleaner with a floor mopping function from Dreame, which stands out, among other things, because its battery lasts for a really long time. So we should easily be able to clean all the floors here. The manufacturer says it works for 40 minutes, but I've already tested it myself, and for my 100 square meter apartment, I only used half the battery. The vacuum cleaner has 4 operating modes. And here we've managed to gather some crumbs and fur, so let's start cleaning from here. The enormous suction power and high brush rotation speed make the vacuum cleaner really effective at dealing with various types of dirt. But so you don't have to just take my word for it, we'll test it in a moment. Now let's leave all this to dry a bit, so it's not too easy, and in the meantime I'll share my experiences with you. When I was a child, cleaning meant first vacuuming the whole apartment and then mopping it wet. That's why, when I became an adult, very often after vacuuming I just didn't have the energy to mop, and the mop was actually used much less frequently. And that's why I'm so encouraged by the device. 2 in 1, because basically one pass through the whole apartment is enough to keep the floor really perfectly clean. All right, let's get back to our test. And just so it's not too easy, there's more. A little bit of dry stuff. Let's start. Not bad, huh? He sucked it all in right away. I recall a story from a housewarming party here when my friend and some guests were in the garage. There are all sorts of boxes there, and the guys wanted to know what those boxes were actually for, and they immediately decided that to find out, they needed to look for the man of the house. But my friend knew very well. This one's for the internet, this one's for the ventilation system, this one's for this, and that one's for that. But of course, if you'd rather talk to my husband, then go ahead. They were totally surprised, and of course I was outraged, because each of us, regardless of gender, can know what's in our own home, and we shouldn't jump to conclusions. And it's the same with cleaning. Each of us, regardless of gender, should do our part to keep the house tidy. And that's why the H13 Pro vacuum cleaner has special wheel assistance, so moving it forward, backward, or all around the apartment doesn't require much effort. The vacuum cleaner practically moves on its own, you just need to steer it. It's really very simple. That's why, which I think parents will especially appreciate, we can also involve teenagers and older children in cleaning, and I believe that even elderly people and those with limited mobility can easily handle vacuuming and mopping the floor. In this model, the brush has been positioned in such a way that it can clean even better from edge to edge. And thanks to the fact that the vacuum cleaner is very mobile and has the assistance I mentioned earlier, we can easily clean both the corners and the space under the furniture, for example, around or under the table. So let's get to work. And when the floor is clean and we just want to sit down, put on a movie and relax, it's usually time to wash all the mop cloths we've used. And with the H13 Pro Vacuum Cleaner, we don't have to do it ourselves because thanks to the self-cleaning function, we just put the vacuum back on the charging station and then press a button. The rest occurs naturally. Rotations go both directions. A temperature of 60 degrees makes sure the brush gets really clean, and then it's also dried at 60 degrees. And thanks to that, bacteria don't multiply as much and we avoid unpleasant odors. What else should you pay attention to? Definitely the lighting, which helps you see dirt on the floor better. And actually, when cleaning the bathroom, we don't even need to turn on the light. And I really appreciate the large display where we can see which mode is on. Everything is very clear. And most importantly, we can see how much battery percentage is left. Because if there's not much left, you need to keep it under control so you can finish cleaning before the vacuum runs out of battery. And it's very convenient that there's a Polish language option, and even though most people probably know English nowadays, not everyone does, so it's really important. If you have any questions about the equipment from today's episode, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll try to answer all of them, and now I'm waiting for your thumbs up. I hope you're already subscribed to wnetrzazewnetrza, and I'll see you next week in the next episode. This time it will be a home tour, so make sure not to miss it. It's best to click the bell. Bye-bye.